allow yourself to settle softly into the quiet space around you, feeling the steady, welcoming weight of your bed, holding you up without effort. Let your breath find its own natural, unhurried rhythm, flowing in and out like a gentle tide across smooth river stones. With every exhale, feel the tension dissolve from the muscles of your neck, down through the curve of your spine, and across the broad width of your shoulders. A comforting heaviness moves through your arms, resting warm and open in the palms of your hands. A soothing stillness begins to settle behind your eyes, smoothing your brow and quieting the busy thoughts of the day until your whole body feels heavy, cushioned, and completely safe in the gathering dark. There is a single night in late October when the mountain valleys change hands, a quiet threshold where summer releases its final hold upon the earth, and winter is invited in by the light of 1,000 hilltop fires. On the eve of Saint Demetrius, when the lower pastures grow cold and the seasonal flocks fall silent, the crests of the high hills become the meeting ground between the gathered harvest and the long, quiet months of frost. The climb along the southern slope of the hills begins in this fading golden hour, following an ancient earthen path worn deep by centuries of wooden wheels, iron rims, and the quiet, seasonal passing of sheep. All around the rising trail, the high pastures have turned the color of pale wheat and polished copper, rustling with a dry, rhythmic whisper whenever the cool mountain air sweeps down from the granite ridges. Below, in the shadowed valley floor, weathered timber roofs sit nestled among bare plum orchards, where heavy walnut trees have dropped their dark, fragrant leaves onto the damp earth. The sheep came down from the limestone pastures weeks ago, their iron bells now quiet in the lowland pens, leaving the wide landscape suspended in a profound, listening stillness. Step by step, the path winds upward past gnarled hawthorn bushes, heavy with dark crimson berries, their thorns catching the pale remnants of the dusk. With every rise in elevation, the air grows noticeably sharper, thinner, and purer, carrying the resinous fragrance of dry juniper needles, the cold mineral scent of exposed sandstone, and the sweet, fermented aroma of wild autumn apples resting undisturbed in the high grass. At the crest of the ridge, the entire country suddenly opens in layered tiers of blue-gray hills that stretch endlessly toward the distant mountain horizon, looking like great, sleeping creatures resting beneath a sky of soft violet and bruised indigo. At the very center of the broad plateau stands a massive conical mound of seasoned oak logs, dried thorn branches, and pine boughs, hauled up by the villagers over the past few afternoons. This summit fire is not merely an autumn celebration. It is a sacred boundary, marking the turning of the earth. In local lore, Sumedru is remembered as an ancient pastoral guardian who carries the iron keys of winter, tasked with sealing the green earth, locking away the vitality of the soil beneath the roots, and allowing the mountain to sleep undisturbed until spring. The great structure of wood is an offering, the physical body of the passing summer transformed into light, so the land may cross into the dark season without fear of the cold. People have already gathered across the plateau in a lively, animated crowd, their heavy woolen coats and sheepskin vests pulled tight against the rising wind as laughter, friendly greetings, and calls carry across the grass. Children run between the groups, carrying bundles of dry pine kindling. Neighbors share news after long weeks of solitary harvest labor in the valley, and the hilltop hums with the vibrant warmth of an entire community gathered under the open sky. Yet as the moment of lighting nears, a subtle shift passes through the gathering. The lively hum softens. A man holding a small kindling torch of dry birch bark steps up to the base of the mound, but he does not strike the flame. Instead, he pauses, raising the unlit torch slightly into the air. Beside him, several older villagers turn their faces toward the valley, watching the slender, pale grass beneath their boots. The mountain wind, which had been blowing steadily up from the southern ravines all afternoon, suddenly falters, spins in a brief circle, and turns cold, beginning to draw down from the northern granite peaks. No one speaks or rushes the moment. The entire hilltop stands quietly in the dusk, waiting for the air to choose its direction. Only when the small, thin trail of smoke from a nearby secondary ember shifts and begins to rise in a smooth, steady northward drift does the man kneel at the base of the wood. A spark is struck. The small flame catches the paper-thin birch bark with a soft hiss, curling the white edges into glowing black lace. The fire travels inward along dry needles with a sound like summer rain falling on dry leaves, building intense heat within the heart of the stacked wood until long tongues of golden flame burst through the outer lattice of thorn branches and leap toward the night. A spontaneous cheer rises from the gathering as the crowd steps back in a wide wave from the sudden, powerful heat. Sparks spiral upward in thick, brilliant constellations, floating high into the dark before fading among the first stars. Standing near the perimeter, watching the upward rush of light, your gaze wanders past the crowd and out into the vast, dark emptiness of the valley. At first you notice a tiny, solitary point of orange light burning far across the shadowy ridges. It looks like a single lantern left on a distant meadow. But as you watch, another point of gold appears to the east, perched high upon an unseen summit. Then another ignites further north along the mountain wall, and another until the entire dark rim of the horizon is ringed with small, steady beacons. What felt like an isolated village gathering transforms into a vast, silent constellation of hilltop fires, revealing that every peak across the mountain range is answering the exact same moment under the exact same sky. Around the central blaze, the lively mood returns. People share rounds of hearth bread, roasted walnuts, and dried pears from pocket to pocket, chatting, joking, and warming their hands. Then, quite suddenly, a group of elders standing near the windward edge stops talking. Their conversation fades mid-sentence as their eyes turn upward toward the sky. Others notice their stillness and follow their gaze, Above the roar of the oak logs, the dense, fragrant column of white and gray smoke is rising in a tall, unbroken pillar, climbing straight through the cold air toward the stars without wavering or scattering. A quiet nod passes between the older men. For generations, the smoke of Sumedru has been read like an unwritten map of the season ahead. When the column rises straight and clear into the upper air, it is understood that the coming winter will be bright, dry, and clean, sparing the valley from sudden, destructive blizzards. The conversation slowly resumes around the circle, carrying a quiet sense of relief. As the hours unfold and the tall outer structure burns down, the wood collapses inward with a resonant, heavy sigh, showering the night in sparks and leaving behind an enormous, incandescent bed of glowing coals that bathes the entire hilltop in deep crimson heat. The crowd forms a wide circle around the lower edges of the glowing embers, clapping in steady rhythm and cheering as young men and women run with swift, sure strides, leaping cleanly through the heat and smoke over the glowing fringe of the fire. In the midst of the lively cheering, a small child steps up to the edge of the light, hesitating before the heat of the red embers. An older man, perhaps a grandfather or father, kneels quietly beside the child, takes his small hand firmly in his own broad, weathered palm, and together they take a running step, leaping side by side across the glowing border of the fire. Their silhouettes hang for a brief heartbeat against the starry dark before their boots land safely in the cold grass on the other side, met with warm laughter and gentle applause. The ancient gesture passes forward effortlessly, not as an abstract ritual, but as a simple hand held in the dark. After the leaps are finished, the energy on the ridge gradually softens into quiet, contented murmurs as midnight draws near. Families begin their descent down the dark trails, carrying iron shovels and long, hollow branches filled with live embers to kindle the winter hearths in their homes below, while others carry buckets of warm, powdery ash to scatter around the roots of their orchard trees. Their voices and the glowing trails of their lanterns slowly fade down the slopes, drifting away into the night until the footsteps completely disappear. Yet, as you look back at the crest of the hill, you see that the fire has not been smothered or extinguished. A large portion of the glowing bed remains untouched on the high plateau, left intentionally to burn itself out in its own natural time. The fire ceases to be a gathering or a spectacle. It returns to being a quiet, solitary presence on the mountain, breathing under the open sky. The silence returns to the plateau, unbroken save for the soft, continuous murmur of the wind passing through the dry grass and the faint, internal settling of the coals. You remain standing beside the great circular bed of embers, watching the quiet landscape sleep beneath the vast dome of the autumn sky. The glowing coals shift gently under their own weight, breathing with the passing breeze, brightening into a vivid, pulsing orange when the mountain draft crosses the stone pit, then slowly relaxing into a deep, velvety crimson beneath a delicate rising veil of silver gray ash. Under that quiet gray blanket, the concentrated warmth of the fire stays preserved, steady and calm against the cold mountain earth. Looking out once more across the wide, pitch-black valleys, you notice that the distant fires on the other summits have all faded away into the darkness of the night. The horizon is dark, vast, and still. But just as your eyes adjust to the deep black of the mountain wall, you catch sight of a single tiny light still flickering faintly on the furthest ridge. It is so small it is almost indistinct, pulsing gently against the cold dark like a lone star that has come down to rest upon the stone. The mystery of the mountain ridge settles deeply around you, wrapping around your senses like a warm, protective mantle. The wide sky, the sleeping valleys below, and the gentle, lingering memory of the embers soothe away every remaining thought, leaving you completely weightless, grounded, and at peace. Outside in the dark, the mountain night holds the quiet hills, while the warm breath of the hearth carries away the very last traces of the day. As you watch that distant, solitary light in the vast dark, feel how the quiet stillness of the entire mountain gathers softly around you. And now, picture a gentle pillar of warm, golden light rising effortlessly from the heart of the embers beneath you, climbing slowly and quietly, connecting the deep, resting earth straight up into the starry sky. Let that pillar of light move softly into the space around your body, wrapping around you like a radiant, weightless embrace. With every slow breath in, draw that warm, luminous comfort deep into your chest, filling you with quiet stillness, ease, and safety. And with every slow breath out, feel that pillar of light carry away any remaining tension, any lingering thought, gently lifting it upward into the open, peaceful night. Your body feels completely supported, deeply grounded, and bathed in steady, soothing warmth. There is nothing left to hold on to, nowhere else you need to go. Everything is soft, safe, and completely at rest. Rest now. Let your mind drift away gently into sleep.